No.
Hello, everybody. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Welcome back to another Shit Talk Fridays. I'm Gina.
And I'm Evo.
And our favorite we're drinking tonight, not for any particular reason.
I feel like we need a sponsorship. I really do.
Evo?
I know we're not there yet, but I think that we promote this wine enough to say that, come on.
Come on, man.
Send us a case or something. You know, if they sent us a case, I would literally drink it every Friday, because we already do.
Yeah. Well, we don't drink it. Last Friday we didn't drink.
I'm exaggerating a little bit, but practically, yeah. We really drink this wine. We really love it.
We do. So let's cheers.
Cheers. We didn't even say what wine it was.
Oh, it's the Uno Melback.
Uno Melback. So if you
Sorry,
hear us out there,
I apologize that we didn't say it because
Uno,
we just drink it so much that I'm just like expecting everyone to know what it is.
Please send us una caja.
I also have my glass of water because I have to keep an even flow of wine and water.
You got to keep the ratios mixed, right?
Otherwise, Gina's gonna die tomorrow. Tonight, we have some interesting topics for you, and they have kind of like piggybacked off of an article that I was reading that I found to be kind of like, I don't even want to say that I found the article interesting. I was just kind of blown away by the article because I was like, the fuck? So I don't know if anyone else, like when you go on Google, what winds up happening is like the more you search things on Google, the more Google starts to give you like certain articles pertaining to the things you search.
The algorithm starts picking up on your searches, and all of a sudden it's like they're just bombarding you with all the stuff that is related to your searches.
Yes. So basically what winds up happening is I get a lot of articles based on things that are kind of like stories that are trending. And I recently came across a story about Nick Cannon. And what I found funny about that too is that you and I had just been watching clips of Wildin' Out with our son that like literally the next day the Nick Cannon article I came across it, and I was just like, either Siri's listening to me, Alexa's listening, I don't know what's going on, but I have not been searching up Nick Cannon. But anyway, so the article was talking about Nick Cannon and his current girlfriend and the announcement of their pregnancy. And the reason why I found this article so interesting was because this will be Nick Cannon's 7th child.
God damn.
That being said, it is his 7th child, but it will be his 4th child within 1 year. That means that he has or is going to have 4 children born within 1 year span. Nick Cannon will have 4 children born within a 1 year span by 3 different women.
Sounds like Nick Cannon got that cannon.
Oh my God.
I'm just saying. He's been busy.
I can't believe that you said that, Evo.
Cannon. You're saying 3 different pregnancies.
Do you want to put your mic down just a little bit?
3 different pregnancies within the span of about a year.
No, it's within a year, not about a year.
So
year.
It's in the span of within a year.
Yeah. So to give you a little bit of background, I'm not going to say the children's names. I'm just going to talk about the children that were born in the time that they were born. So he had a daughter born by one woman, December of 2020. He then had twins born just recently, this past June of 2021. That makes 3. And then he announced the pregnancy of his current girlfriend and the arrival of their expected son this year by another woman. And that will give him a total of 7 because he has, so that's 4. He has one other son with another woman that he had the daughter with the daughter that was born in 2020, Nick Cannon has a son with her,
Mm-hmm.
and then he has the two twins, the set of twins that he has with Mariah Carey. So a
Right.
total of 7 children. And hello, Stephanie. Welcome to the stream.
What's up, Stephanie?
So that being said, I was like, yo, Nick Cannon is like, he wilding out.
He's definitely wilding out, and he's you know, I got mixed feelings about this.
Okay.
And we'll
we talked about it a little bit.
We'll get into this later. I want you to continue on with you know, how you're leading into this.
Okay, so we talked about this previously, and the reason why I found the article interesting was because, to each their own, any person, to the amount of children that you want to have is totally a personal preference. But what I found a little crazy is that he obviously has had it with multiple women and multiple children in such a short amount of time. So the reason why I felt like that there is like a downside to that is because now these children will at certain times be without an avid father figure, because Nick Cannon can't be everywhere at all the time. So whether he's going to remain with the current girlfriend in that household, then he's going to some way have to figure out how to maneuver the remaining 6 children. So I was just kind of like, damn, I obviously don't think that that is the most ideal situation. And I was like, I wonder if this was planned, or were these unplanned pregnancies? And then I said to myself, if these were unplanned pregnancies, it's within Nick Cannon's power to he's basically the one that is creating these situations, because if he was to remain with one of the women, he could only have had one pregnancy with that one woman.
Mm-hmm.
But because he's been with multiple women, he has the capability of having multiple children. So then that got me thinking about male birth control. Because if he had the ability to have male birth control, if these were unplanned pregnancies, they could have been avoided.
I'm sorry. I'm just sitting here. I just keep thinking about like Nick. I mean, he was on his Oprah shit. You know, he was like, "You get a baby. You get 2 babies. You get 2 babies." I mean, like, honestly, like,
Yo.
is that what it's like to have fuck you money? Like, I'm just gonna have 3 families. Fuck it, I could do it.
Well, he has 4 families.
4
now.
families. Fuck it, I'm just gonna have 4 families.
Because he has it will be 7 different children. Nick Cannon will have 7 different children by 4 different women. So it will be 4 different families.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here. Okay, so Nick Cannon's been out. He's been in the industry for quite some time, and it seems that as far as pregnancies go, he's managed to avoid them. To the point where they lead to birth. Now, I don't know. Like he's managed to avoid getting women pregnant thus far, right? He's been in the industry for a long time. I'm sure he's had many relationships or many, situations where he's been with women.
Okay.
And has managed to avoid not having children thus far, right? Until he started having them with these children, right? With these women.
I don't know. He's been pretty busy, considering that he was with Mariah from like 2008 to like 2016. They were together for like 8 years, and they had their twins like 3 years into their relationship. And then when they broke off, he basically had like so then their divorce was final in 2016. He then had a child 2017. And then had 120, you know what I mean? So I feel like he's been pretty...
Right, but even before Mariah, he was still doing his thing. Like, he had Wildin' Out before Mariah. He's had Wildin' Out for a while.
I'm actually not 100% sure how long Nick Cannon has been doing Wildin' Out. I 100% couldn't tell you that. But what I will say is that, are you saying that he's prevented some pregnancies? Is
what
that
I'm
what you're saying?
Is that I just feel like that he's, between Wildin' Out and, America's Got Talent, and what other ventures he's got going on. I mean, he seems like at one point in his life, he was just like, fuck it. I'm just start busting in clubs. Like,
Oh my God.
I feel like that he's avoided this situation that he's in. You know, obviously prior to his marriage, and then these women. You know, there was a life of Nick Cannon before he settled down and got serious.
Yes,
you know
I would.
what I mean?
Okay.
And so I feel like throughout that whole time he's avoided this type of situation. But now it's just like, all right, Mariah, you know, he's got 2 kids. Obviously, you know, maybe he now, you know, there's a liking to having children.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was just like boom, boom, boom.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I got
Yeah,
the money.
5.
I could do it. You know, like.
Which I'm not looking down upon that.
No,
decision.
neither am I. I'm just saying. What the point of this, of me bringing this up,
I'm
saying is like, is that what it's like to have fuck you money? Like really, so much money where you could really do something like that and be comfortable with it.
So I think that yes,
sorry.
potentially.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you.
I would like to think that this was a conscious decision. I would like to think that this
Do you
wasn't.
think consciously he thought, let me have twins in June and
Not
then
about twins.
and then get another
Not about twins.
women pregnant right
Okay,
after?
But what I'm saying is that coming from a man's perspective, right?
Okay.
And you know, speaking for myself, who's avoided to have any type of accidents or get any woman pregnant all my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have 1 child, and it was and that child was intentional.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking from that experience, I know what it's like to actively avoid that situation if that's what you're looking to do.
Mm-hmm. You're abstaining from it, really.
Not abstaining. I'm not abstaining from like having relations.
Well, you're abstaining from having children, though. So
Right.
you're actively protecting yourself from having children. So I wouldn't say avoiding,
But-
because it almost kind of sounds like
No, I wanna
you're like dodging
no,
pussy.
but I want to say
You're like, nah,
no,
bitch, I'm out.
I want to say avoiding, because even in my serious relationships, you know, where, you know, there was even in the more serious relationships, my long-term relationships, you know, where I was just, you know, monogamous,
Mm-hmm.
I was very much in control of not getting that person pregnant.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, you were actively practicing safe sex to prevent pregnancy.
Yes, but you know, when you get into a long-term relationship, you know, contraceptive is not something that, you know, once you committed into a relationship, you know, you decide that whether you want to continue with contraceptives or not.
Mm-hmm.
And in some situations, the contraceptives weren't there, and I was the one in full control of.
Yes. Okay, I understand
You
that.
know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just looking at Nick Cannon's, you know, career and saying that, okay, it was like nothing for a long time, and then all of a sudden it was like, okay, he had some twins, and then it was just like bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
Something changed in his.
Well,
in his
I don't know what that change was. I could neither confirm nor deny that I have any fucking clue what that change was. But it sparked the question in me as to why there isn't male birth control. Because a man has the ability to impregnate as many women as he comes in contact with during the course of a year. So if a man is to sleep with 50 women in a year, he potentially could impregnate all 50 women.
Yes, he potentially could.
So that being said, I still to this day don't understand why there isn't a birth control for men. And my question, or like what I thought about, was vasectomies. Because to my understanding, and due to me looking into it, is that vasectomies are reversible. So a man can have a vasectomy, let's say when he decides that he is going to be sexually active at age, I don't know, let's say 18. He can get a vasectomy, and then at age 30, have the vasectomy reversed and have no issues having children.
Okay, that's not entirely true. Research shows that the longer you wait to reverse the vasectomy, the less likely you are to be able to have children, the more complications you are likely to have on trying to have children.
So cite your source, because I actually read that initially and then found a more recent study that actually debunked that.
Okay.
That said that it is, hold on, and I have it here in front of me, because I was like, oh man, I can understand why men wouldn't want to do that. So from Cornell Medicine, the popular myth about vasectomy. A new study by physicians and scientists in New York Presbyterian Hospital and Cornell Medical Center, funny, I actually just did a job for them, finds that vasectomy reversal is highly effective even 15 years or more after the procedure has been performed.
Okay. Well, the article that I read didn't list like the time frame.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the years?
It just said the longer you wait, the less likely you are to be able to have kids as a male when you reverse the procedure.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's 20 years, maybe it's 25 years. I didn't get that information.
And the reason why I did a little bit more digging on this is because I wanted to make sure that I was speaking facts about this topic, because I'm not a man, so I didn't want to come from a stance of ignorance and just be talking bullshit, even though this is called Shit Talk Fridays. But I wanted to be very factual, because a previous live, we discussed immunizations, and I stated a fact that a lot of people critiqued me on, and what I didn't specify was the amount over a course of time, and I got kind of reamed for that.
Mm-hmm.
So like I wanted to come more factual.
Sure.
So I also believe any sort of procedure that is done to any human being, it's always going to be very situational, right? So like I had a C-section. The way that I react to it can be very different the way another woman would react to it. So I could understand that, maybe there could potentially be some issues later down the road, but Presbyterian Hospital and Cornell, I would kind of take that as
right.
As truth.
As valid
information.
Sure.
So that being said, you and I were talking about why vasectomies aren't more widely done, and I think that there is some ignorance behind this. There's some facts that people don't understand about vasectomies. So I did a little bit of research into the whole vasectomy world. And some of the shit that I found really interesting. Number one, it only takes 2 hours to do it. It's a 1-day procedure. You're out of the hospital the same day.
Local anesthesia.
Yeah, local anesthesia. In addition to that, the rate of any complications or infections after the procedure is less than 1%. So it's that means it's super fucking safe. 95% of the time, or it's covered by health insurance.
Mm-hmm.
I think and I say 95% of the time because it can be dependent on your type of health insurance.
Right.
But a vasectomy for a man falls under birth control. So it most likely will be covered under health insurance. And if you don't have health insurance, the cost of a vasectomy ranges from about $1,500 to $2,000, which I don't see to be an exorbitant amount of money. I know that it's not inexpensive, but it's not very expensive.
I mean, it's sure as hell cheaper than having a baby.
Preach, Evo.
So, there's that.
In addition to that, the cost of a vasectomy is significantly less than the cost of a woman having to use birth control over the course of however many years a woman decides to protect herself against pregnancy, unplanned pregnancy. So I have a number here. So let's say on average a woman protects herself for 41 years from pregnancy, with an open window here and there of pregnancy. So you say 41 years because the average woman will tend to go into menopause between the ages, or they can become premenopausal 45, experiencing menopause in your early to mid 50s. So let's say on average 41 years you're protecting yourself from pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
12 months at a cost of $50 per month for this birth control. Over the course of 41 years, that is almost $25,000 that a woman will have to spend to protect herself from unplanned pregnancies. Now, don't get me started on all the fucking side effects.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to speak firsthand about that. In my younger years, I will say that I had a better experience with birth control. But I was also more ignorant. I didn't really understand my body as well as I understand my body now. Looking back, I know that I had side effects that I was kind of ignoring because I didn't really understand. But as I got older and I decided to go back on birth control after the birth of our daughter, I think Evo said a prayer, because I think you thought that I was going to fucking pop your head off of your shoulders on any given Sunday.
Yeah, I sure as hell didn't like the side effects.
And sure. I then would have conversations with female friends, and it was something that many women that I know were experiencing. Mood swings, irritability, vaginal dryness,
loss of libido,
other weird just and you know, and this is all due to the disruption of a woman's hormonal system due to fucking taking birth control. And it's so frustrating because I feel like anytime a woman goes to a doctor and she tells her GYN, I'm experiencing some sort of hormonal, like maybe I have acne, or maybe I have bad cramps, or you know, maybe I have maybe I'm experiencing heavy bleeding. It's just like, sure, here, take a pill. There's never any other fucking solution. It's just like, here, take this pill, you'll be good. Fuck all the other side effects. Fuck if your hair falls out. Fuck if you want to kill your husband, just do it. But then come to find out that if a man has a vasectomy, and listen to me when I say this, when a man has a vasectomy, there are no side effects. It does not disrupt a man's hormonal system. The likelihood of a man getting any infection or any side effect due to the procedure is like almost zero.
Let's talk about there are associated health risks. They are infrequent, but there are associated health risks. Okay? And that is hematoma, which is a collection of blood, and it causes painful swelling. You can also develop an infection or chronic pain following the vasectomy. And let's see here.
And so let's just be clear, this is less than 1% of people that receive this procedure.
In most cases the procedure is safe and effective with minimal side effects.
Yeah, less than 1%.
Oh, yes. Well, it's like I said, it's minimal, but there are some associated risks. And you know, and I emphasize minimal because it's amazing how you can have this procedure and yet women are the main target for
the main focus
for birth control, and there's so many side effects
that are guaranteed to happen.
But you know what though, on an economic level, this makes sense.
This is what we spoke about, because I was just like, my question was, why the fuck does this happen? Why is it that women's ability to protect unplanned pregnancies is the only option, whether it be through birth control, whether it be through pills, whether it be through IUDs, whether it be through Depo-Provera, the shot, or whatever, any other form, whether it be, you know, tying your tubes or whatever it is, this procedure or this option always falls to the woman. And then you and I were talking about it, and then we started talking about cost. And please tell the audience what you said that I was like, motherfucker.
Well, I said two things. I said if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. At the end of the day, when you mentioned that the average woman spends about $25,000 in her lifetime on birth control, was as to where a male would spend $2,000 tops on a vasectomy and possibly another $2,500 to get it reversed, which equates to like $4,500. If I was a pharmaceutical company, my target would be the women. I mean, it's where the money's at. It's where the lifetime birth control is. It's where the GYN, constant GYN visits are. It's where it's where the complications to the side effects are. It's where the cancer is. There's just so much opportunity when it comes to pharmaceutical business and using women or giving birth control to women that it's a constant flow of revenue. And it's sad, but at the end of the day, us as people, when it comes to big corporations and government, we are their product. Without us, they don't make any money. They have to find ways to extract money out of us so that they can be businesses. And that's the sad part of it all.
I just want to tell you, as you were saying this, my face started to get hot.
I can see it.
Because it makes me so angry as a woman to know, and we have a daughter, and the conversations that I'm going to have with this little girl about sex and about birth control are going to be some fucking off the wall shit, because it's so frustrating to know that we are looked at as a business. In addition to that, something that I thought was really interesting was people who are pro-life, people who are against abortion. I would think that they would be super pro vasectomy, super pro birth control, and finding ways to have these things afforded to people either through insurance or free of cost. Because if you want to prevent unplanned pregnancies because you believe life begins at conception, then you would want that to be minimized at all costs. And to think that in this day and age that the only way to do it is to abstain from sex, I think that is pure ignorance, because people want their sexual freedom. I think people should be entitled to their sexual freedom, but I don't think that women should have to unfortunately pay the price if there's an unplanned pregnancy, because whether or not a man decides to be in the picture or not in the picture, a woman has to deal with it regardless. And me and my son just recently had this conversation about if the two partners decide equally, okay, we're going to keep this child or not keep this child, the woman is the one that has to go through with that procedure, whether it's giving birth or having an abortion. So it boggles my mind sometimes how the two of these things are not like, how maybe like pro-life people are like not going after these organizations to say, hey, let's find a way to educate men on vasectomies, or let's look into the science of ways that maybe a man can take a pill that will reduce his sperm count, or do something to his sperm, because the same way a woman takes a pill and alters her cycle, I'm more than certain that there's a way that they could come up with something. Because if they could find a pill to give a fucking man an erection, then there should be ways that they can find a way so that he doesn't put little babies out.
We're gonna give women birth control, and we're gonna give men a pill to
to
keep it going. It's not working here. Take this. Just keep pumping that sperm out. Here's an interesting concept. So we obviously have a runaway population on Earth, right? Yeah. So you know how China did like the one child per family? Mm-hmm. What if every man for a certain portion of their life had to have a vasectomy? Meaning that they only had a certain window to have children. And I guess if you put that window in a certain part of their life, then it would only make sense for them to have so many children. Because so if they got a vasectomy in
I follow you. Even though men can produce children to the day that they die.
Of course, right. But if you, let's just say like by the time when they turn, I don't know, 15 to 26, they had to have a vasectomy. They weren't allowed to have kids until after 26 years old. How many kids do you think a person would actually have once they've gotten into the later years of their life, are settled down, realize the reality of life and what it takes to to maintain a house and everything like that? How many kids would they actually have at that point? I feel like when you have children, you have them early on in your life, and then
I don't know. These past generations, millennials and Gen Zs, are having kids later. Well, Gen Zs are The oldest Gen Z right now is like 25. So millennials, for the most part, are having less children.
Right, but I guess what I'm saying is that by the time you're 26, at that point, you know, it's either you're in a situation where you're gonna have a child with someone, or you have to now find someone that you're gonna have a child
with. Yeah.
So by the time that pans out and you have a child, like, how many children are you actually going to have? How many children?
I understand what you're saying.
You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
feel like that in itself will limit the amount of births that a man can have or would have.
Well, men don't have birth. Men produce children.
Correct. Okay. So the amount of women
That they impregnate.
you know, that might limit that or lessen that amount. Just a theory.
I can appreciate your theory. The only thing is that I don't like the verbiage of allow. I don't think that any entity should have regulation on a person's body, like when it comes to their reproduction. I do think it should be 100% optional. I think it should be something that is discussed with men, how birth control is discussed with women. So when a young man goes into his yearly physical, their doctor should then say to them, hey, you're 18 years old. Are you sexually active?
Right.
If so, would you be interested in receiving a vasectomy, which is a very minor procedure that will help you prevent pregnancy? And when you're ready, we can discuss you planning a family.
So here's the thing, right? You know, I really hate to get to go off the deep end, but
Okay.
I start to wonder, right? If the government is responsible for us as human beings, right? They're responsible for providing for us, you know, all of the things that they provide for us, right? Through the system that is created,
Okay.
right? At some point, the amount of people that are on the planet ends up being their responsibility. They have to care and provide a system, an infrastructure for all these people. That falls on the governments of the world. So at what point do you think that you feel like that becomes an issue for them and something that they may have to get a point of control over?
Well, I mean, you use China as a point of reference. They've
Right.
already done that because their population is
Right.
and it's at a point where it needs to be regulated
Right.
because they don't have the space, they don't have the resources.
So why is this all of a sudden something that is not something not to be considered?
So I think that it's going to it boils down to people's civil rights and people's rights of autonomy. And for a human being to say, yes, I pay into my government for certain things, you know, whether it be, you know, Social Security, you know, Medicare, unemployment. And those are the things that in return I want to receive, but I also don't want my government, you know, this is why there's, you know, there is a Bill of Rights. That's why there is, you know,
No, I understand
there's
that.
amendments because
But I mean, everything.
this restricts the government from governing certain aspects of people's civil rights. You know what I'm saying? So
You're
I feel like
absolutely right.
that would be the
I agree.
argument.
But when we have to face reality, I mean, we only have a limited amount of resources. All right, the planet can only support so much. Right?
Wait, say that
I
again?
said we only have a limited amount of resources.
Correct.
The planet can only support so much.
Correct.
Right? So there has to be balance. I mean, facts are facts.
Yo, you sound like Thanos right now.
You know what I'm saying? There has to be balance.
You
right?
sound like you
So
trying to
why
get.
not? Why not?
You sound like you trying to get the Infinity
Why
Stones,
not?
Evo.
You know what I'm saying? I already got 3 of them. Why not?
Evo's trying to snap.
Right? You know what I'm saying? Why not? You know, what's it called when you cryo freeze a man's sperm at an early age, right? So you have his offspring secured, vasectomy, to a little bit of part of life, and then he has a certain amount of years afterwards to raise a family.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, just limit the amount of time that's allowed for him to just be out there, just bang, 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 and doing all the reckless things that a lot of men do. You know what I mean? So like Nick Cannon, for example, right? I would much rather Nick Cannon be having 7 kids than a lot of these other delinquents that shouldn't be having kids who can't support them. At least the man can support these kids. Yes, there's the question of him not being able to be there for all his kids at the same time, but I would much rather these kids be fathered by Nick Cannon, and Nick Cannon can support them, than a lot of other kids who you have men who don't, they don't ever see these kids. They don't ever see these, the fathers don't ever see these kids, and there's never not even financial support. Like, these kids are really suffering. I would like to think, and I'm going to go out there and assume that these kids are going to be taken care of. Nick Cannon's kids are going to be taken care of.
I mean, I would think without a doubt that they would be taken care of. And if he wasn't, you better believe these baby mamas going to court.
Nah, I think, and that's what I said. I feel like Nick Cannon came across, something must have happened with Nick Cannon where he was just like, fuck it, I'm just going in.
Well,
I can do it.
Listen, maybe he wanted to have a large family.
I think that, I feel like he just said, yo, I'm good. I'm Gucci.
And I said, no fault on him. He's entitled to want to have multiple children. But I felt like the only downside is his inability to be present in all of his children's lives simultaneously.
Yeah.
That's just not going to happen.
That's not going to happen, no.
So let me read some comments. So Melissa, welcome to the stream. So she says, someone educate Nick Cannon to get a V. I believe he's on his 7th child, 4 in the last 6 months. Multiple mothers. This is why women have to protect themselves. And this is exactly why we were having this conversation tonight. And Lauren says, we live in a democracy. We elect our government leaders, and we elect people who we hope will act on our best interests. A democracy can dictate what Evo is proposing. And then Lauren also says, democracy will eventually fall in the U.S. because all civilizations fall eventually, but for now there's no way in our democracy this could happen.
Very
and interesting and Lauren, welcome to the stream. And interesting that Lauren says that, because I've actually done a little bit of research into the falling of civilizations, and it basically it's our trajectory is like going right there.
Yeah, well,
we're experiencing plague. We're experiencing economic disparities, and then we are also experiencing
next is war.
We kind of already had that, but we are also experiencing social disparities, and what I mean by that is like when it comes to like the disputes that we're experiencing with genders.
Yes, that is
one of the key elements.
Yes,
which I thought was really crazy.
And it becomes a focal point.
Yes,
within the society.
Yeah,
amongst everything else.
Yeah,
it's like
on top of all of the other things.
Yes.
So interesting that Lauren brought that up. Now, talking about the hopes that Nick Cannon will support all of his children, which I don't dispute that he won't. That got me thinking about, because ladies and gentlemen, I be having thoughts, and like, let's all praise Evo tonight, because the amount of times that he has to listen to me ramble about shit, he's the best listener, because there are so many times I'm just like, oh my God, I read this, what do you think about this? And he sometimes looks at me like a deer in the headlights, but he always keeps it so well put together that I always think he's like avidly listening to me, that I have no gripes. So it got me thinking about paternity, because unless a man requests paternity of a child, there are men that will go through an entire pregnancy with a woman, birth, raise, and later on find out that this child was not theirs.
Just straight honor system.
Yes. Now, with obviously recent science, men are able to find out if they are in fact the father of a particular child, but you know, decades ago that wasn't a possibility. So women were able to,
like on Game of Thrones.
yes, women were able to conceive children with a man, and it was just like,
This is your baby.
this is your baby.
This is your baby.
So like prime example was Cersei from Game of Thrones, and we all know that she was sleeping with her brother Jaime, and all three of those kids were not Robert Baratheon's children, but there was no one that could contest that. There was no way that it could be contested that those children, other than the fact that all three of her children had blonde hair, and every Baratheon ever born had black hair,
Right.
and that is how Ned Stark figured it out. And that's why Ned Stark got his head chopped the fuck off. So that being said, I asked the question, do we think that paternity should be mandatory at birth?
That's a very interesting
So
question.
before a man signs the birth certificate, should paternity be mandatory, or could it also be optional? Is my question. So like, for example, when they come into, you know, your room where you're staying after you give birth to a child, and they come and they get your information for the birth certificate, at that point the person with the documentation can turn to the father and say, hey, before you sign this document, you have the option of receiving a paternity test. Would you like it, or would you not like it?
I feel that it should be mandatory, and I'll tell you why.
Tell me why, Eva.
Because there is an alarming statistic on false accusations of paternity that merits this procedure to be mandatory. As we
This
stand,
test.
this test, thank you. As we stand right now, the false rate nationally is 14 to 17%, which of men are falsely accused of being fathers of children that they did not
Father.
14 to 17%. That's huge.
Nationally.
Okay, nationally.
That's actually a
Okay.
significant amount.
All right, and some people may want to downplay that. Okay, but if you make an investment on something and your gain is 14 to 17%, that is huge. Okay, so this is big, and based on this statistic alone, to know that women nationwide, out of all children's births, 14 to 17% are falsely accusing men of being the father of their children. This merits this test.
Well, does it say that? It doesn't say that women are falsely accusing. It's just saying that men are being falsely accused. So that being said, I read a little bit in. I read a little.
I'm sorry.
It
hold
says
on.
women.
So no, I'm just saying, if men are being falsely accused, who's accusing them?
It could be the court system. So let me give you an example of how that happens, because I read
Please
into
do.
this.
Interestingly, I never thought about it like that.
Yes. So how a man could be falsely accused of being the father of a child is if a man enters into the court system with a woman, and for whatever the reason, they are not present for the court proceedings for child support.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever the reason. Let's say they were sick. Let's say they were in prison. Let's say they were overseas, and there were several attempts to have them appear in court. A judge has the ability to apply child support and mandate that this man pay child support and is rightfully the father.
Okay, I understand. In order to make them pay child support, they have to make them the father.
Yes.
Okay,
So,
it's like by default.
Yeah, that's exactly what
Yeah,
it is.
it's by
By
default.
default, the man will be defaulted as
Understood.
the
Okay.
father of the child, and there's no biological standing behind
Right.
that. There's just, okay, this is the man that is being
Yes.
presented as the father of this
Yes.
child. He has not asked for paternity
You have
prior
forfeited your right
to dispute that.
to dispute the allegations of you being the father of this child, and
Correct.
therefore, because you forfeited those rights, by default now you are
Correct.
assumed the father. So even more of a
Mhm.
reason to have mandated paternity test
At birth.
at birth. And I think it just really just kind of clears the air. You know, for two people that just know, it should be nothing.
Yeah. Well. Yes, I would agree.
You know
it
what I
would
mean?
be
Like
nothing.
it's just nothing. Like when we had Ava, like
It's nothing.
it's nothing. It's just nothing. You know, but
Also, too, when that baby came out, I was like, God damn it, man! Another one
that
that don't look like me. I should just hand my children over to their father. I should just be like, just take it, just take it. Because if anything, If I didn't carry that baby, I would be asking for paternity.
Yeah.
All three of my children. I'm just like,
Did not look like you.
another one? Like, I was DJ Khaled on the third one. I was
Another
like,
one.
another one.
You know, but for those people.
And good evening, Mark. Welcome to the
Right?
stream.
What's up, Mark? Welcome, and welcome. So for those people that kind of like have sticky situations, you know, and maybe don't want to make a situation worse by questioning,
Uh-huh.
I think that kind of like takes that the pressure off of that, you know.
What do you mean?
It's just being mandatory. All right, so let's just say you have two people that are in a relationship, and it's just not a good. It's not sitting on a good foundation. I think questioning the paternity of the child will definitely put more of a wedge
between the
two people. You know, creating more of a unstable relationship on something that's already not stable. I can see someone avoiding that just to like not create more friction between two people.
So you're saying if it's mandatory, it's just like, okay, then we have to do this.
Yeah, like it's really not one party questioning the other's honesty or integrity. You know what I'm saying? I feel like when you question, especially in a pregnancy like that, it's like, wow, really? You're questioning me? You think I've been you know, like, and it just all of a sudden there's all this distrust.
I can speak from experience when the father of my two first sons questioned the paternity of my second son.
Yep, I remember this.
I literally was like, are you fucking kidding me? I remember being so taken back by that accusation only because the situation that we were in with our first child was not ideal. And to know that this man would think that I would then say, oh, here's another one that I want to put into this not ideal situation was kind of mind-blowing. But I will say he had all the right because we were not together when that second child was conceived. So I understood. But he also did pull that card later on in life. And it was only pulled after he was presented with child support.
Yeah.
So I was definitely taken back by that. But I had no gripe in doing it. If anything, I was actually kind of eager. I was like, oh, okay, you want to do this? Great. Because this will only solidify my claim.
Absolutely.
And in the end, just really justify my reasoning for being here in the first place.
And as Maury would say, you are the father.
I remember when I got that letter, I was literally just like, this is just ridiculous that I even have to like read this. But that was the case. And to be 100% honest,
I feel like that was a Hail Mary.
It was. But to be 100% honest, I was sad for my son.
Yeah.
Because to know that there was even a question made me sad. But in the end, this was so long ago that I understand now. I understand. And I also have to remind myself that we were very young. And like when I look back at some of the shit that I did when I was young, I don't fault this man for a lot of decisions that he made in our the relationship that we had, because we were fucking idiots.
You guys were young.
Oh, we were so young. And for anybody that doesn't know, I had my first child at the age of 17. And if my aunt is still on here, I'll never forget. She was in the midst of planning a wedding, and I was supposed to be a bridesmaid. And I remember just being like, yeah, so that's not going to happen. Because I got
a baby mate.
Yeah, because I may actually be giving birth when you're getting married. And she just looked at me like, the fuck did you just say? Because I was 17 years old. So that being said,
you know what's crazy though?
I think if paternity would have been something that would have been mandatory at birth, we never would have ever had to go down that road. It would have just been 100%. Like we would have entered into something would have just been like, okay, so you know for a fact that this is your child, so can we just move forward? But we had to go through all that other bullshit.
You know what's crazy? Coming full circle, right?
Mm-hmm.
in all the relationships that I was ever in, talking about kids and those relationships and stuff like that, I always clammed up. Like I never wanted to have children with any of the women that I ever was with.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you going through the situation that you went through and all the struggles that you went through when we met, seeing you be a mother to your children was the deciding factor of me saying, I want this woman to be the mother of my children.
Mm-hmm.
So that's crazy how, like, you know, you went through what you went through, and then
that helped you envision children.
Well, not only that, I just knew that the way I saw you act with your children and the way you raised those boys
Mm-hmm.
resonated with me and what I wanted as a wife and a mother to my children. You know what I mean? So it's just interesting.
You want Eva wanted the hammer.
Yeah, it's just interesting.
He's treading lightly.
It's just interesting to see that.
He wanted a mother that was gonna give un cocotazo.
Yeah. out of all of that.
But at the same time, make you rice and beans.
Yes, of course.
And dame un beso. Like you wanted all that. When you saw that, you were like, "Oh, this is what I want."
Gina could wield the chancleta like no other.
So my aunt actually says, "Yup," and then I planned a baby shower.
I sure did.
Guys, I was 17 years old. Like, what the fuck did I know? I knew nothing. But God, do I know so much now. And honestly, the saying ignorance is bliss is so true, because I think the level of ignorance that I had really helped me get through raising my children, because there was so much that I didn't know, and it kind of shielded me from fear. And the reason why I say that is because when we had our daughter, I was well into my 30s, full-blown internet. And any little thing that happened to this baby, I was like, Google, why is this happening? And the amount of fear that put into our lives was unreal. And I find it so interesting because when I was younger with my kids, I was just kind of like, oh, you got some goop come out of your eyes? You'll be all right.
I mean, listen.
And if our daughter sneezed more than twice, I was like, oh my God, we have to take her to the doctor.
That's the privilege that we had growing up of you don't know what you don't know.
Oh my, that's why I say ignorance.
You don't know what you don't know.
Ignorance is so bliss. Like, honestly, I think about the things that I did while pregnant, while having my children. I remember one time running for the bus when I was like 6 months pregnant with Anthony, my son Anthony. And I remember just being like, oh, this is normal. Meanwhile, pregnant with Ava, I was like, I'm just going to sit on this couch and eat these Fruity Pebbles. Don't look at me for shit. It was actually pretty amazing. So Lauren says, you two complement each other so well. Someone's making me want to do a season 1 Game of Thrones rewatch. Gina. Lauren.
Wow.
Let me just tell you this.
Please
do. Because Evo and I decided to rewatch Game of Thrones. And the reason why I was able to quote that so vividly was because we are currently now season 7.
Yeah, we're season 7.
Game of Thrones. Started rewatching 2 months ago?
Yes, and let me tell you, Lauren,
it is
so much info that we missed.
What the fuck?
Lauren, there are so many episodes that we're just like, I don't remember that happening. What?
You see so many different things that you did not see the first time you were watching it, because I think what's happening is that when you first watch Game of Thrones, you're watching the main storyline, right?
Yes.
You're really focused on the main characters. You're really absorbing that. But when you watch it the second time, you really can absorb the secondary characters. Like right now, I'm so in love with Sam and his story with Gilly.
Yeah.
That
you can appreciate
I was not about that.
You can definitely appreciate a lot of the other stories that were going on that you probably didn't appreciate because you were so focused on the main plot and the main story.
And let's be real. I'm rewatching it because I'm gearing up for House of Dragons in 2022.
So definitely a must, Lauren. Don't think
do
twice about
Don't
it.
Hesitate. Just do it. Okay. So we're actually close to 9 o'clock, which is great. But So you think mandatory paternity?
I think that
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with it. But I will say this.
Listen, let's squash that 14 to 17% of falsely accused men of being fathers of children that they did not father.
I'm gonna say mandatory with the option to opt out.
Okay.
So what I mean by that is that, because then technically it wouldn't be mandatory, but it is a test that is required, but you have the option to opt out. And I know this to be true for certain testing because when a woman's pregnant, she can opt out of receiving an HIV test.
So wait.
So what I'm saying is that if a man or a woman are happily married or in a relationship or whatever the case may be, whatever the dynamic is between the two people that have chose to conceive this child, if there is no question in their mind, they can opt out of receiving the paternity. Because that's just not something they want to do, because it's still going to be billed to their insurance.
I don't agree.
Okay.
Here's my
your stance on it.
Not my stance. I want to say here's my the opposite of that.
Okay.
Right? I want to say mandatory with the option to be the father. Right. So if it turns out that you're not the father, right?
Okay.
The question should be, okay, so now that you're not the father, do you still want to be the father?
Okay, now I understand what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Because I think that paves the way for a deeper bond.
Because there are
right?
men that
will choose actively choose. Yes. So you don't know who the father is.
Yeah.
And they understand the situation, and they're, you know what? I still want to be the father of this child. I feel like that creates a situation for a deeper bond.
Yeah.
If you have the option to opt out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then it's like, okay, we had this baby, or you're saying this baby's mine. I want to know whether it is mine. I have the option to take a paternity test or not. So then there's that you're injecting that doubt into the relationship. As to where, so on the other end, it's mandatory. You find out that you're not the father, but now you have the option to still be the father. I think that creates a better dynamic.
Of course. I would agree, because I do think that there are men out there that will.
Of course. If you look at your stand, you're sitting.
No, they will heed the call.
Yeah, they will heed the call. This is the way.
Do you know where I get that from?
Where?
From Game of Thrones.
Oh, oops, shit, damn, I missed that part.
Lyanna from Bear Island.
Yes.
Princess Lyanna, when she was like, when the king in the north called, you didn't heed the call.
You did not heed the call. Yes, that little girl, she is.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. Honestly, I just got goosebumps thinking about that. And again, it's because we've been rewatching. Anyway, let's get into our top 5 for tonight.
Please, let's go.
Because I could talk about Game of Thrones. Honestly, on Mother's Day, I went out to have brunch with some girlfriends, and the server overheard us talking about Game of Thrones, because again, I had been rewatching it, and the server started talking to us about it, and he was like, "Oh my God, I started rewatching too," and we got all giddy, and my two friends were looking at me like, bitch, we're here for Mother's Day, not to talk about fucking Game of Thrones. So like, I didn't want to I don't want that to be the conversation for tonight. And hello, Sonia, welcome to the stream. Also,
What's up, Sonia?
I just want to say that our cat, you can't see it, but off camera, she is laying on a little couch that we have over here.
We could probably.
And she looks so absolutely adorable, because I can see her stretching, and you can see her paws, and it's the cutest. Honestly, it's the cutest thing ever. So like, can you guys?
This is our cat right now.
Tap the screen. Tap your screen.
Tap my screen.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Oh, but they can't really see that.
You guys can't really see that.
Anyway.
I just feel like that.
Anyway, it doesn't really matter.
Yes.
But she just looks so cute on that. Ooh, she just looks so cute on that couch. I just wanted to share that. Anyway, so let's get into our top 5 here tonight, and I'll have Evo introduce this, because since we've been look how cute you look on camera. Since we've been talking about fathering children, since we've been talking about
paternity tests,
it got me thinking about some of the best, worst TV talk shows.
So our top 5 this week is the top 5 best, worst TV talk shows. Right? And coming in at number 5 is Catch Me Outside, motherfucking Dr. Phil. Because I think that he's got to be most famous. That's got to be his most famous clip ever.
Listen to me. Okay, hold on a second. When I started to look into these TV shows, I thought, like, the fact that, like, Dr. Phil popped up, and I was literally like, oh my God. I remember once upon a time, because you know, Dr. Phil came from Oprah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, yes, I do remember that.
So he got his show off of the strength of Oprah. It then started off as a very, like, you know, here's a man who is helping people therapy-wise and really trying to, like, rebuild families, rebuild broken relationships. And then all of a sudden, it went from that to, like, Cash Me Outside. How about that?
Well, I mean...
And, he, like, the fact of the matter is that Dr. Phil went from being what I would consider, like, a legitimate talk show to being a scandal TV. Because he then had other shows about girls that, like, were gold diggers. Huh?
I feel like
okay, it's fine. Girls that were, like, gold diggers. Guys that were, like, questioning the fathering of their children. It went from, like, legitimate therapy conversations to, like, Cash Me Outside, how about that?
I mean, I feel like Dr. Phil, you know, he realized that he had to sell his soul to the devil. Like most TV talk shows that are on this list right here. So, moving along, coming in at number 4 is Live with Kelly, Ryan, and Michael.
Okay, hold on a second. I'm just going to say coming in at number 4 is Live with Kelly, and I'm going to say Live with Kelly.
Ryan,
No, hold
Michael.
on. No, hold on. What? Okay, I know this. Evil's just announcing this, but I know this show verbatim, okay? I say Live with Kelly, and I then wrote all of these people because these are the amount of hosts that she has had over X amount of years, right?
Yeah.
So, her most recent host, her co-host, was Ryan Seacrest, which this is why I call it the best worst TV talk shows, because I absolutely hate Kelly and Ryan Seacrest. They are so dry, and their jokes are so dry. Previous to Ryan Seacrest, it was Michael Strahan.
That was good.
I really enjoyed them together.
Yes.
There was definitely, like, a different dynamic between them. I thought that, like, the fact that he was a black man and she was a white woman, they were able to bounce things off of each other very differently.
Yes.
And I think Michael Strahan had a different perspective, whereas Kelly Ripa had a different perspective. Now, previous to Michael Strahan was Regis Philbin.
Yeah.
Now,
it's the OG.
I'm going to even take it back to say I loved when it was Kathy Lee Griffin and Regis Philbin. I loved that show. And then, you know, Kathy, she has some scandal shit go on.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, Kelly came in. I loved Regis Philbin. God rest his soul.
Yeah, Regis and Kelly was it for me.
And I think for me, it was just kind of like he was older and he had, like, some snappy ass jokes. And there were kind of things that he did that were, like, maybe inappropriate, but you just let it slide because he was a little bit older.
Yeah, he got that. So why did this make the top best worst?
Because that show is complete trash now. And
now.
Yes, and you could also sense the tension between her and Michael Strahan.
Yes.
So, like, for me,
I'm interested to know how that happened.
It took a good show, and it just went fucking left field. And yes, Melissa says he had swag.
Yeah,
and I'm not 100% sure if you're talking about Regis or Michael, but I would say that both of them had the originals. I think, yes, and I love the originals. And it's kind of crazy that, like, I'm dating myself when I say that, because that show went back, and I love them two together. I just think that they were kind of aggy, and I love that about them. But, like, Ryan Seacrest and Kelly Ripa, please just do me a favor. Just hang that fucking shit up. Hang that shit up. And look, so she has both.
Yeah.
So Regis and Michael, they had swag. Ryan Seacrest and Kelly Ripa, they might as well be the same fucking person.
I honestly like Kelly on the show. I just think Ryan Seacrest, he just needs to exit stage left, and they just need to try to bring in a new host.
But
and I don't know why it is
it's
that
too.
they're.
And I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I really don't understand why they keep rotating hosts.
Well,
I mean,
because Regis, he retired,
right? But I mean,
and then Michael left
Michael
and
Strahan,
went to the morning show. I'm not really sure why he left, but then that's why Ryan Seacrest came in.
Okay.
So Regis retired, so like that, but like I loved her with Michael Strahan. I personally think, and this is my personal opinion, and maybe I may get taken out for this, I think that Ryan Seacrest and Kelly Ripa, it's too vanilla for me. The dynamic is just, it's too vanilla.
Yeah, you need yin and yang.
Yes.
There's no yin and yang. Like with her and Regis, there was yin and yang.
Yeah.
Her and Michael Strahan, yin and yang. Her and Ryan Seacrest, it's just a whole bunch of.
It's just like,
there's just too much cream. There's just too much cream in that coffee.
Yeah, it's just like, oh god, it's just so whack. So that's why I put it as one of the best words. Because at one point, I fucking loved that show, and now it's just fucking trash. And Lauren says he and Kelly hated each other.
So yeah, that's
Michael and Kelly. Okay,
that's the impression that I'm getting, and
I loved Michael Strahan.
Yeah.
And first and foremost, I used to be a huge Giants fan.
I mean, listen,
maybe and he was on the champion winning Giants team.
Yeah.
So like, I was all about Michael Strahan.
Maybe he knew how to put on a good show. So anyway,
I believe he did.
Yeah.
I believe he did know how to put on a good show, and I think that's what I liked about him, and I think that there was that good dynamic. But whatever, I honestly just think that Kelly and Ryan Seacrest, they just need to fucking hang it up, and Ryan Seacrest should just stay to doing what is that show that he does?
I don't fucking know.
It's the singing show that he does. The one that
America's Got Talent.
No, my God, Nick Cannon used to do America's Got Talent.
I just don't remember.
No, he does the original singing show. Ladies and gentlemen, please help us.
Wow, I know what you're talking about.
With Simon.
Yes.
And Nicki Minaj was one time.
The name escapes me right now.
Why is it that I can't think about
American Idol.
American Idol.
You know what's funny is
so many other shows came to mind.
Yeah.
America's Got Talent, The Voice,
American Idol,
The Masked Singer. Yeah. I thought of everything
you
but
know what?
that.
I feel like American Idol it fell more in line with his radio show that he used to have.
Ryan Seacrest?
Seacrest, yeah. So I feel like that's why that kind of like, worked out for him.
And Stephanie says, I thought when she brought her hubby on, he was funny at times. I
enjoyed that chemistry.
But that's what I'm saying. It's the dynamic, and I think her and Ryan Seacrest, it's just basically, it's like they're the same person. It's just so boring. Yeah. But I like her with her husband. He has a little Latino spice. He's got
a little swag to him.
Yeah. Yes, and Stephanie says American Idol. Thank you, because we were suffering just now. We were literally suffering.
All right, so moving along, coming in at number 3.
Oh my God, look at my face.
Is the uniquely controversial Wendy Williams.
Okay. I put this as best worst because Wendy Williams is iconic in her own right. Mm-hmm. She took herself from radio and got herself her own TV show. Yes, so I believe that she's a force to be reckoned with.
Props to Wendy for that.
Yes. And I make it number 3 only because I just feel like her content, I'm good right now. I feel like her content has really dwindled over the years, and she has not been able to deliver.
She plateaued.
I actually think that that's a really good perspective.
She definitely plateaued.
And I also think that at times when she's confronted on screen with some tough conversations, she now pulls back. Whereas that's how she started her career. Wendy Williams would say shit that nobody was saying.
Yeah.
Where now I feel like she'll pull back from a conversation, or she'll not let a guest say certain things.
Yeah, I just feel like that those comments led to her biting off a little bit more than she can chew. I just feel like that eventually she crossed over into a do not enter zone, I guess you may call it, and she got her ass handed to her. She found out what was on the other side of that line. She crossed the line that she should not have crossed, and that shit shook her. And after that, I just feel like she lost it.
Funny enough,
Because not for nothing, I don't mean to interrupt you, but
No, it's okay.
Wendy Williams used to serve.
I know.
And I think that accurately describes why she made it to where she made it.
She would read
She
people.
could serve.
Yeah,
you.
she would read people.
Yeah, she would serve
And
you, a new asshole.
she was one of the first people that was making accusations about certain rappers being gay. Remember?
Yeah. So I just feel.
And
like,
I remember the
yeah.
scandal behind
Yeah.
that.
I just feel like that. Something happened, and behind the scenes, somebody came to see her.
Yeah. Funny enough, though, I actually got compared to Wendy Williams a couple times.
Really?
Yeah, on TikTok.
Okay.
People were like, you kind of give me like a Wendy Williams vibe. And then I was like, smile, smile. And then they were like, no, I don't mean it in a good way, bitch.
Oh shit.
And I was just like,
Welcome to Shit Talk Fridays.
and I was like, either way, I don't care. Thank you.
Either way.
Either way.
We fucking.
That being said, if you're comparing me to Wendy Williams, who has created an empire for herself,
Yeah.
then bitch, I'm well on my way. And I know for certain that a lot of people don't like to hear the things that I say, because I come off sometimes pretty abrasive, especially when it comes to the things that I feel maybe regarding topics that men are very passionate about.
Yeah. That's a sensitive subject.
And guess what? I don't give a fuck. And my husband fully supports me.
Absolutely.
I've had so many men come for me. I don't care.
Listen, I've always said it. I got your back till the walls crack. And when and when that shit fucking crumbles, listen, we just put the pieces back together and keep it pushing.
And George, welcome to the stream. He says, mi gente.
Latinos del mundo.
Ya tú sabes.
Tú sabes. All right, so moving along, coming in at number 2. Oh my God, this guy right here.
This guy right
this shit
here.
right here is the most infamous, notorious.
I wouldn't say he's the most infamous. I would say he's the most, maybe like.
No. I want to say he's
Okay.
the most infamous.
But he's only number 2.
And he's only number 2 because listen, this is your top 5. You put this together, and I respect that for you.
Who
but
put this together?
Who put this shit together? Me. That's who. But I want to say he's the most infamous because this man right here paved a lane that no other talk show has ever been able to pave in the history of talk shows, and for that, I will give him the title of the most infamous.
Okay.
And that's motherfucking Jerry Springer.
Jerry.
Yo, I think a comic. Sorry. So I think a comic described Jerry the best when he described Jerry as he did an impersonation of Jerry, and he was talking about a situation where Jerry is interviewing people. He's so why did you feel that he crossed you the wrong way? And why is it that you don't like him and the way that he acts? Here's a knife. Do something with this.
Yo,
that was Jerry to the fullest. He instigated shit in such the most sneakiest way.
I loved it though.
He might as well just been throwing knives and guns onto the stage as he talked. Because literally that's what he did. He was just throwing bombs onto the stage, and I loved it. He just did it in such a calm way.
Jerry Springer was part of my I'm staying home from either work or school lineup. I was watching The Price is Right, and then I was watching fucking Jerry Springer.
Yeah.
And if you weren't doing that, you were not living your life at home watching daytime TV.
No, you weren't. You definitely
Okay?
weren't.
If you didn't, watching Jerry Springer sitting at home when you were either sick or you took off a day of work, or maybe you were just
Yeah.
chilling and if you were just what's that called? How we used to say it, like chillaxing
Yeah.
at home, then if you weren't watching Jerry Springer, I don't know what the fuck you were doing with your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at that point in my life,
I watched so
I
much
needed
Jerry
in my
Springer.
life, yeah.
Can we even just talk about how his right hand man, and I forget his name, and please tell me if you remember his name. It was like his security guard guy. Then wind up getting his own show,
Yeah.
where he kind of had like the same sort of like.
That's how much of a wave
yeah.
Jerry Springer. That's much of a wave he created.
I want to read some
let's
comments
go
really
to some
quick.
comments because we have some here.
So Stephanie says, "Can I say something here?" Of course, always. Straight up, I started watching you because of Gina's personality. You inspired me to speak up a little bit more. Stephanie, I salute you. I am
Stephanie,
here for you.
You always have a platform here.
Yes.
Okay,
But
know
listen,
that you are welcome and you are family.
I will co-sign your shit on the regular. And Lauren says, Geraldo Rivera walked, right? So Jerry Springer could run. Lauren.
Yo, we forgot about Geraldo.
No, we didn't forget about Geraldo. I wanted to make them a little bit more current because I could have went back a little bit further. And then Jerry raised the bar though.
Yeah, he did.
And then Melissa says lie detector test too.
Oh my God. Yo, we forgot about the lie detector test. Yeah.
Wait.
Oh man.
I have like a pain in my back.
Oh my God. I'm just now remembering all of the lie detector tests that were given on the Jerry Springer show.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have like a pain in my back that I think it's from like working out. Like maybe I did something improper, but I laughed so hard that the pain in my back was like, "Bitch, stop playing."
And thank you, Stephanie. Steve. That
Yes.
was the security guard.
Sad. And then, oh wait, so Stephanie says, sad. I was in elementary at a school watching Jerry Springer. Bad TV. Of course you were. That's what you, and it was Steve.
Yo, it was a train wreck. You just could not stop watching it.
And then Logan, welcome to the stream. Yeah, chemistry, which we have together. I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about.
That's
Doesn't
okay.
matter. I appreciate it.
As long as you got it.
I love that people said Steve. Like I couldn't remember his name off the top of my head,
thank you.
but Steve was the man.
Yes, he was.
He was his bald-headed security.
That was that dude right there.
I just said bald-headed.
Yeah, and listen, if I ever need a security in my life, that was the guy that I wanted.
Well, real quick, when Lauren said that Geraldo Rivera walked so that Jerry Springer could run, it reminds me of the TikTok when he was like, "Mama here walked so that Peppa could run," and it was everybody comparing. Oh God, it was people comparing to Oh God, it was Peppa Pig and. What was the pig before Peppa Pig that everybody was comparing it to?
I'm drawing a blank on that one.
Shit. I'm sorry. My head is filled with a lot of TikTok videos. And it probably doesn't help that like my husband and I, we actually talk in TikTok conversation.
Yeah.
And if anybody doesn't know what that is, go on TikTok for about a month and then you will start to have TikTok conversation where you literally will start off maybe 2 conversations a day with, I saw this TikTok.
Yeah, you know what's funny, right? Is that before TikTok, like we would if you found out some information about something, you wouldn't really like cite the source. You would just be like, "Oh, I found out that such and such is going on in the world."
Yeah.
Now it's like, "Oh, I saw this TikTok." Because it's like you can't even front like we are literally getting like 80% of our information from TikTok.
I know it's so
sad.
bad.
It is so sad.
I don't know if it's sad though. I kind of enjoy it. And by the way, Stephanie says, and the test determined that was a lie.
One of my favorite quotes.
But this is what I'm saying. Jerry Springer gets a number 2 spot because he was the best worst TV that you've ever watched.
Yeah, it was.
I'm sorry.
He just brought Ratchet to a whole new level.
Yes, and what I think is so crazy is that like our son is now watching clips of these shows on YouTube, and I was watching with him the other day and I was like literally like, Oh my God, I can't believe that you're watching. Like, I was almost. Oh, and then Logan says Jerry Springer is the boss. Okay. I just think that, like, the fact that, like, my son is watching clips of Jerry Springer, I'm, like, almost somewhat embarrassed because I'm just like, oh my God, I actually used to watch this TV avidly and, like, have no problem. And then, like, go somewhere the next day and be like, yo, I seen this episode on Jerry. And, like, would have a full-blown conversation about it and have no, like...
You know what, though? Listen, Mateo is cut from a different cloth.
Yes, he is.
Okay,
because
Mateo went back and he watched all seasons of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yes, he did.
Okay?
And now he's currently watching Martin.
All seasons of Martin. Like, and then he went back and watched all seasons of Friends.
No, that was Anthony.
Oh, was that Anthony?
That was Anthony.
Okay, all right.
He went back and watched all seasons of Boy Meets World.
Okay, all right. So...
And... he also went back and watched all seasons of That 70s Show.
Yes. So, like, I love it. I love the fact that, like, he's relating to, like, something that was part of our era and finding it.
He literally does not almost identify with anything from his current generation. Yeah. He's just like, I was born in the wrong generation. Yeah. Our son Mateo, who just graduated high school, his only one graduation wish was, when we pull off from graduation, I want you to bump Biggie.
Like, what?
What?
Okay.
We were like...
say less.
Right? Say less. Like, we got you, my guy. Yeah, Biggie, what song?
Yeah.
It could be the most vulgar.
Kicking the door was his request.
And honestly, I was so proud that he graduated high school, but at the same time, we were just like, someone listens to Biggie?
Oh, my God. That was a great show.
Stephanie says, Living Single, cannot forget Queen.
Living Single.
Hello.
Thank you.
The fact that our son is currently rewatching Martin, we watched 2 episodes together yesterday. I was laughing my ass off. Yeah, Living Single is fucking amazing. I was actually just saw it on TikTok. Some of the best black TV I've ever watched, and Living Single was part of it. Yes. So actually, that brings us to our number 1 for the night.
Yes.
And Evo, I'm so proud of us because we're on schedule tonight.
Yes, we are.
Because the last couple of weeks, I've been looking at Evo and no one has noticed, but like I literally kick Evo.
We have our behind the scenes signals that like, yo,
wrap it up, B.
Wrap that shit up, B.
Because like when
we need a wrap it up box just to like, you know, let everybody know that we get to wrap the shit up.
Because honestly, when I have to, like, what you ladies and gentlemen may not know is that like I have to rewatch this live afterwards to like pull out certain clips and like just to, you
have to mark all of the time marks. Like if a clip happened at 30 minutes in, you have to mark it.
And I have to review our entire show.
Absolutely.
So when we go over time, sometimes I look at Evo and I'm like, we went 1 hour and 50 minutes, Evo. Do you understand now I have to watch almost 2 hours of content? I'm going to kill you. Go get me bagels. so I'm excited
keeping
about
it on time.
Keeping it on theme.
On theme and
keeping
on time.
It on theme.
Right along schedule. Coming in at number 1.
For your top 5 best worst TV talk show.
Best worst TV talk show. Strong.
Coming in strong.
Shit got muscles. Is the highly undisputed, never questioned, you are not the father, Maury.
Oh my God. If you did not know that he is the king of paternity tests, and that is why we...
King of controversial talk shows.
He is like, Evo, you are the father. And then the girl goes running through the audience.
No! Yo, let me tell you something, man.
The amount of... Maury has given out more paternity tests than our government.
And I love it. Mandatory paternity test. Thank you, Maury.
Maury's like, actually, if you want to come on our show...
Yes.
I don't even care if you have a baby or not. We want a paternity test.
You know what? Maury has cleared up more confusion about maternity than I feel like...
not maternity.
Paternity. Sorry.
Maternity.
Thank you for clearing that up. All right. He has cleared up more confusion about paternity than I think anybody has in the history of talk show. And that just supports my theory that paternity tests should be mandatory. Right?
But then Maury wouldn't have a show, Evo.
No, he wouldn't. But he doesn't have a show anymore anyway, so... Let's make it mandatory.
Oh my God! And
Let's-
Sonia says that she knew that Maury was number one.
Let's call it Maury's Law.
Oh my
shit.
God!
Did I just say that?
Okay, this is one of those things that I'm just gonna say this. It was said on the live
It was
first.
said on the live. We said it here first.
So when this goes into law, it is going to be called Maury's Law. And I swear to the gods, I want my cut.
Oh, my cut.
I want my cut.
Yep.
Because whatever pharmaceutical company is going to be the company that is going to make these paternity tests available to all hospitals, I want my cut.
Oh, well, you know what? I'm buying stock.
I just want to say the amount of things that we have said on this live that we think that should happen. Now that Maury's Law, before that was we thought that Jaden Smith should redo the song Summertime because he's Will Smith's son. Shit, I forget what the other one was.
Don't worry about it. Listen, we doing a damn thing.
Oh,
all right,
God.
it's happening. It's happening here on the low.
I'm a little.
All right.
I'm a little distraught.
Nah,
I just want everyone to remember.
Just gotta keep doing what we do. All right?
Yes.
This is what we do. All right. So, Maury,
Number one spot.
number one spot, the king,
The king of paternity.
the king of paternity test, the king of worst TV talk show. Well, why is
Best worst.
Why is Maury the best worst?
Because it's a guilty pleasure. It's a guilty pleasure TV.
It is. You're right. It
There's
definitely is.
there's no quality about that show. You are not going to watch Maury and go, wow, I learned a valuable lesson today. No, you're walking away going,
This shit is
yo, that bitch was trifling.
filth.
Or you're gonna be like, that guy, he's a dirtbag.
Yeah.
Denying all 4 of his children. Meanwhile, my favorite part of Maury is when the girl be like, look at this baby.
You know what?
Don't this baby look at that nose. He look just like him. He's crazy.
That shit is the soap opera of talk shows.
Yo, novela.
That shit was like, Maria, ¿por qué?
Escuchi. All right. That brings us to the end of the show. I'm so proud of us for staying on schedule tonight because I literally had a conversation with Evil tonight and I was like, hey, Evil, I love you. But you be telling stories at the end and then like we go over time. And Evil looked at me like, all right, bitch.
Yeah, for real. I'm like, okay. Let's not talk about all the times that you went on these long stories, but
Yeah, but I be staying on schedule.
yeah. We're not gonna go into that. That's a whole nother segment.
But I just want to leave the audience with this one question. We have about 8 people watching right now, which I highly appreciate.
Yes.
We are considering going to incorporating podcast. So we are a live show, so you get to see us live every Friday. But we would like to know, and I would like to know in the comment section underneath the video, if you would enjoy hearing us as a podcast too, so that you don't have to log on to YouTube to watch us. You could then log on to another platform, whether it be Spotify, Apple Music, whatever other streaming platform there is where you could hear us just audio. Would that be something that you would enjoy? So please leave comments for us to know, because then that would help us kind of make the decision, because there is some financials behind it that we would have to consider if we wanted to go the podcast route in addition to the live. We're not going to stop doing the live, but it's something that we want to do because
Kind of like a bolt-on.
yeah, it's definitely a bolt-on, because I myself am an avid podcast listener, but I'm also an avid YouTuber, so I do both. So I just want to know if that was something that our audience would also enjoy. And it's another way that you can also enjoy Shit Talk Fridays, whether it be Shit Talk Saturdays, Sundays, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for you. But that with that being said, that brings us to the end of our show tonight. We thank everybody for joining us.
Thank you, Logan, for joining us for the first time. We hope to see you next week.
But until next Friday, peace out.
Peace out.